Let's take you straight now to Pietermaritzburg in KwaZulu-Natal, where we find our reporter Lethiwe Mdluli on the streets of Pietermaritzburg. And she's there also to find out what ordinary South Africans are going through just to keep the lights on and indeed to mitigate the impact of this ongoing electricity crisis. Lethiwe, give us an idea of where you are and what people are telling you about the impact of all of these issues with electricity.
Well, a lot of people have had to alter their lives just to accommodate the schedules that we get from Eskom on a daily basis. In Durban, fortunately for the residents there, their schedules are not as intense, but we are in Pietermaritzburg this morning because Pietermaritzburg is just like Gauteng. It's just like any other city that is currently experiencing load shedding. The residents here are saying that they've had to change quite a bit of their lives just to accommodate lights going off. But right now I'm joined by Nontando Mhlongo. She's a resident here. I want to bring her in and just ask her about how she's had to maneuver with the load shedding schedule. Nontando, thank you so much for joining us. You know, a lot of people have had to change their lives just to accommodate not having electricity on a daily basis. We have various load shedding schedules that Eskom gives us on a daily basis. How have you been impacted?
Well, thank you for interviewing me today. Living through these load shedding times has been very difficult for me and my family. I guess you have seen that we live in the outskirts parts of Pietermaritzburg. So therefore, whenever we do have load shedding, it's more hours than what has been put out on the schedule. In some instances, we do have problems where our transformers are usually damaged because of the intensive load shedding, which then also damages our appliances in-house. And then when we report matters like that, it usually takes a long time or a long turnaround time for Eskom employees to come and fix the problems with that. So we're looking at about 3 to 4 days without electricity because we're waiting for repairs. And even though repairs are done, we then experience intensive load shedding again. So me and my family have tried to adjust to this new norm, which is very difficult because with the rise of electricity and the rise of food of cost, we have to throw away food in some instances because it has gone rotten. Yeah. And also incorporating things like gas cylinders in our houses has been our best options, but then that's also very dangerous because we also live with children. Yeah. So it's really something that's been difficult that we have to go through and live by.
Yeah. You know, Eskom normally announces that it's stage 4 or it's stage 3 quite randomly, and a lot of people have to alter their lives with that as well. I mean, you are a working mother. How has this then impacted you, and would you say that you've had to adjust your life, and as residents you just have to accept what the country is currently going through?
Well, there's nothing that we can really do about it, because even if we were to send our complaints, Eskom will just tell us that, well, they can't just generate enough power to keep electricity within our communities. We've had to adjust, especially since it's winter. Sometimes we wake up in the morning, there's no electricity. We have to make means to make sure that we have hot water for ourselves and for our children. And sometimes when the kids come back from school or when I come back from work, there's no electricity. And then we have to think about other solutions to make sure that we have dinner on the table. So we've really had to adjust to our lives, which has been very difficult with our money-wise and also the economy with everything being so expensive. It's been very challenging. Yeah.
Would you say that the working class is under immense strain when it comes to spending because of load shedding?
Yes, we definitely are under immense strain with looking at other alternatives which we don't even qualify for. I know with solar energy being slowly introduced into the country, it's really costly to get those solar panels. And then being someone who lives in the outskirts in a more impoverished area, it is quite impossible to get those erected because we don't even have proper housing and buildings. So it's literally just a vicious cycle of poverty that we're living through, and Eskom is just adding more immense strain on it.
Yeah. Lastly, what do you want to see happen? Do you think there's any change that's going to happen anytime soon, or South Africans and you as well will have to just adjust to how we are living currently?
I think there has to be other changes. If Eskom is the only power station that generates our own electricity, why don't we give other investors an opportunity to also build their own power stations for them to be able to subsidize and produce for everyone? So I think Eskom needs competition so that we can level out the playing and then people at the end of the day can get electricity.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it from a resident who's living in the outskirts of Pietermaritzburg. Basically, she's sharing how they've been impacted and how they've had to spend more just to accommodate not having electricity on a daily basis. My guest is also a mother, so she's also touched on how her children are impacted by this. Whenever they have to go to school, they have to plan around the load shedding schedule. And of course, sometimes we get those changes that are announced by Eskom quite frequently. And she is saying that it's quite hard for them to work around those schedules. But unfortunately, this is the reality for a lot of South Africans, and we have to just basically go ahead with it and plan our lives around the schedule. I will be speaking to more residents here in Pietermaritzburg, also in the urban areas as well, just to find out how they've had to alter their lives to accommodate what we're going through as a country currently.
Okay, Lethiwe Mdluli reporting to us live there from Pietermaritzburg in KwaZulu-Natal.